NRL vids, and Andrew back in another video today. Today it's my Melbourne Storm 2020 NRL season review. And yeah, so I was thinking about doing another Tuesday, which was the after this one there was the Warriors and the Knights, and I'll see if I can do the Warriors one. But if I can't, I'll do the Warriors review on Monday, and maybe the Knights one on Monday as well. We'll see how we go. But yeah, I'm going to do my Melbourne Storm review right now. So yeah, hopefully enjoy. Um, yeah, and 2020 goes like this for Melbourne. They win the premiership, 26 points to 20. They've had another consistent year. It's just the same thing every year. The Storm, you know what you get from them. You know what you expect. They're just a hard-working team who just always just puts in the effort. Craig Bellamy is a good coach, and I think that's the reason why the Storm play so well, because they play for him and they work hard. They got a lot of smart players in that team as well, and the Storm's recruitment, I mean, you think about last year and this year, who was Ryan Pappenhausen 2 years ago? Who was Tino Fuasa Malawi? Who was, all these sort of players? Who was Tui Kamakamika? Who was Justin Nolan? And the Storm just signed them from reserve grade. All those players I just mentioned, and they made them into stars, and it's just incredible how they do it. And they turn, and the Storm have that amazing ability to turn players around. Like Branko Lee's really turned his game around. He's a premiership winning centre now, which you wouldn't ever expect, really, Branko Lee to be a premiership winning centre. And yeah, that's good to see. He's turned his career around at the Storm. And they're about to sign, and they've already signed George Jennings, and I think they are going to turn him into a very good winger as well when he plays. And they get Remus Smith from the Bulldogs, and they give Josh Odegaard to the Bulldogs next year. But I'm hearing that Odegaard might want to stay with the Storm for another year, which is an option. But I think if the Storm trade Josh Odegaard for Remus Smith, and if the Storm get Remus Smith, they'll make Remus Smith a very, very good winger as well, because the Storm just have that ability, and they just know how to make a certain player from another club just be, one of the best somehow. They're just great from the Storm, how they do it. I can't stand the Storm, I really do. I really dislike them as a club, but you gotta give them credit for just the way they do things. Just a very professional club, the Storm. And yeah, I think that the Storm are going to have another. And just if the Storm are going to lose Siliasa Vunivalu, Cameron Smith possibly because of retirement next year. Josh Odegaard will probably go, even though he could stay, but I think he'll go. And then they lose Jerome Hughes, who's been shopped around actually currently, and the Storm are trying to keep him, but they lose him, then the Storm could be in a little bit of a sloppy year next year. You never know. But they get Harry Grant coming. Well, Harry Grant's coming back, so that should help them if Cameron Smith goes. But it'd be interesting to see how Storm go, because they're losing a few players, and yeah, I think Storm will have another good year next year, but we'll see how we go. In the pre-season, anything can happen. A lot of things will change, but I think whoever replaces, Vunivalu, Odegaard on the wings and all that, they'll have the players, because I think Isaac Lumilu could be an option to replace Vunivalu apparently, and Lumilu's a good young tall winger from Fiji who looks very solid when he made his debut match against Manly, and then they had and having George Jennings or Remus Smith come to the club, so that should be good. But yeah, look, Storm they'll know what to do. Storm just find a player from out of nowhere, absolutely nowhere. Storm just find a player from out of nowhere and they turn them into a superstar. So Storm shouldn't have any trouble replacing them, to be honest, at Vunivalu, Adokar, and possibly Hughes. But yeah, look, the Storm they never really have a bad game, to be honest. The Storm they're always consistent every game. Maybe the only bad games they have is when they're State of Origin, but look, State of Origin's starting on this Wednesday, so, and there's no State of Origin during this year, so, yeah, look, Storm just never have a bad game unless it's an Origin match or they're missing players, but, yeah, look, Storm are just a very good side. They're a very classy team. I mean, over the past few years, they've been, kind of looked at by a lot of people because of their tackling, their techniques, and their wrestling, and they've been under the microscope on a few occasions because of it. But overall, they're a great club, Melbourne. They compete. They're very consistent. They never slack off the job, the Storm, and they're just a very good team overall, Storm, and you got to give them credit for it. But yeah, look, my star player for the Storm goes to Ryan Pappenhausen. That's my star player of the year for Storm, Ryan Pappenhausen. He's had a special year, Pappenhausen. After the in 2019 coming off the bench for the Storm and having various starts at fullback in 2019, like having like 2 starts at fullback, but starting some games off the bench and playing reserve grade last year, Ryan Pappenhausen. 2020, who thought after his debut year, like in 2019, debut year, great solid year, and then 2020 backs it up with a Clive Churchill medal. It's amazing. It's just amazing how he's gained Ryan Pappenhausen from his first year in NRL into his second NRL. You get to Clive Churchill medal and wins the premiership. It's just amazing. Like he's just such a special player, Ryan Pappenhausen. No wonder why he's been selected in the New South Wales Blues squad, but unfortunately he can't play because of a injury with his Achilles. I'm pretty sure it's sore, but yeah. Look, I like Pappenhausen. I think he's a very special fullback. He's got a bit of Billy Slater like him as well, which is pretty scary to think, because Swan could have another Billy Slater, Ryan Pappenhausen. So, but probably less sturdier than what Billy was back in then. But yeah, but I think Pappenhausen is going to have another big year in 2021. The guy is just so consistent. The guy, and he's just such a threat to every single NRL team he plays. He's a real threat everywhere. He's like one of the most fastest players in rugby league. He's got a great motor in him. How fast he runs, Pappenhausen. He's just such a fantastic young player, and I think he's gonna have some sort of future in the NRL. That's for sure. He's gonna be known as one of the best fullbacks, I think, in the next couple of years, in my opinion. But yeah, look, Pappenhausen gets my star player of the year for sure. I mean, there was Cameron Smith up there, Cameron Munster, and all these other, and Justin Olam. They're all considered. They all had really good years, but I think Pappenhausen stood up for Mike. He's got the Clive Churchill medal, and 2020's been his best year yet, and I think of some more fantastic years than not just 2020 will be a great year for Pappenhausen, but I think you have a lot more down the track. So yeah, well, into Pappenhausen, a fantastic year in 2020, and now my worst player, and you know what? My worst player is absolutely no one. I've got no worst player for the Melbourne Storm because they're all consistent. None of them slack off. None of them play a bad game. It's just like that. They're all just born to be, just born to play at their very best. They're just none of them's there to play bad. And I think the difference is when a Melbourne Storm player leaves the club, they kind of turn a little bit rotten, and they kind of don't look consistent as what they were at the Storm. That's what happens and it's a good example of Brodie Croft, because when Brodie Croft left the Melbourne Storm, his form has really gone bad, and when Joe Stimson left the Storm and goes to the Bulldogs, he didn't do much at all. But I know he was injured, but he didn't look as great. But yeah, the thing is, there's no worse players of the Storm. I think that they've got a very good team, and whenever a backup player comes in and the original starting 13, or and anyone who plays for the Melbourne Storm, they just do their job, and they never have a bad game. So I can't really think of anyone that can that had a bad year or a bad year for the Storm. I can't think of anyone. Like maybe you can. Good luck on that one, because I don't think there's much. But yeah, I've got no one for my worst player of the year for Storm. So yeah, like they're just all too good. They just all work hard, and they're all just such good workers, and none of them's a bad player, to be honest. And then my surprise packet player of the year award, it's no brainer as well. This goes to Tino Fuasa Malawi. He's just such a great young player. No one knew who he was last year until this year, and he's made a real name for himself. It's Big Tino. Going to the Gold Coast Titans next year, which is a bit of a loss to the Storm, losing Tino, but good pick up for the Gold Coast Titans. But yeah, look, Tino Fuasa Malawi's just had an excellent year for the Storm. After and just like Pappenhausen, after making his debut season last year in the NRL, his second year in 2020 wins a premiership off the bench and makes the Queensland Maroons squad. Just incredible. Like just such a good story, After their first debut year, the next year they go play State of Origin and win a premiership. It's just amazing. Just the way that sometimes happens with a few players, and it's really, really rare as well. So, yeah, good job Tino on a big year. And he's been a real force for the Storm off the bench. He's just, he can play back row, lock, and in the front row. He's just such a talented young player, and I can't wait to see what his future holds in NRL, because he has some special futures, Big Tino for us Malawi. So yeah, watch out for him in the future. He's got a good future coming up, and I think he could play and he's eligible for Samoa and Australia, I think. So that's interesting right there. He could play for those two. Yeah, but like he gets my surprise packet player of the year because I didn't expect Big Tino to be this good, to be honest. He's kind of surprised me and a few others, but yeah, he's made a name for himself, like I just said before, and yeah, he's just been a real fan favourite for the Storm, that's for sure. So yeah, he's my surprise packet player of the year. Tino Malawi, Big Tino. Uh, my crystal ball for the Melbourne Storm in 2021 is that they may go down a little bit because they're losing a bit of quality on the edges, like Vunivalu and Adokar both going. I heard Vunivalu could backflip from the deal, but I think he'll go because I think interview one time he said that he wants to give younger guys a go. So that's why Vunivalu is going to go. But he was considering a backflip, but I don't think it's going to happen now. And losing Adokar as well, and losing Tino, losing Cameron Smith possibly, we don't know yet. Let's put an asterisk next to that one. And possibly losing Jerome Hughes as well, but I think Hughes will stay, but you never know. But I think the Storm could come about, so far I'm thinking Storm could come about 5th or 4th next year, because they're losing a bit of quality in Cameron Smith, who's just arguably the most important player in the whole team, excuse me, and losing just some quality wingers and premiership winning players as well, in Vunivalu and Adokar, and over the years have been the best winger combinations, those two, and it's about to be broken up, so a bit of a change there, but I'm sure Storm will find some good replacements for them, and yeah, Storm always seem to find some players out of nowhere and make them become superstars and replacing certain players in that team. So Storm should have no trouble next year, but I think they could go down a little bit because Storm, yeah, like I said before, Cameron Smith's a very important player. The Storm and Harry Grant's good, but I don't think he's at the Cameron Smith level yet. But maybe a couple of more years we'll see his potential really show Harry Grant. But yeah, look, I think Storm are going to have another good year, but they may go down a little bit. But I think it'll be the same old for Storm. They're going to be in for another very solid year, and Bellamy will definitely work wonders for the Storm side again. They're just such a talented side with youth and experience, and they're just such a hard-working side. They're consistent as always. There's nothing wrong with that team at all. And yeah, they're going to have another solid year in 2021, I expect. So, guys, that's my Melbourne Storm 2020 NRL season review. Please like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you agree with my points, and that you can share your thoughts on the Storm season in the comments down below. And yeah, see you for my New Zealand Warriors review, whether that's today or tomorrow. Yeah, so see you then.